Oh, I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting for January the 2nd, 2018. I got that right. So is Mr. Gruder here? Okay, don't see Mr. Gruder. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Would you call a roll, please?
Let me make sure I get the right one. Mayor Troutman.
Here.
Councilmembers Smith. Here. Ekstrom.
Here.
Schumacher.
Here.
Gill.
Here.
Weed.
For the last time, here.
Jaquez.
Here.
And Meisner.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And I will go ahead and ask for approval of the minutes for the December the 4th, 2017, the regular City Council meeting, the December 12th special City Council meeting, and December 18th special City Council meeting. Are there any corrections at this time?
I do have some duly noted corrections, typos, and grammatic corrections, so I will go ahead and correct those in the minutes.
Okay. Mr. Meisner?
I just have a question, and the man's here, so. On the minutes from the December 18th special meeting regarding water, the closing paragraph mentions that the new rates are effective on June 1st, and I was under the impression that was going to be April.
Yes.
April.
Thanks, I'll note that.
So that should say,
April 1st.
it's the last page on the back.
Yep, April, sorry.
But the monthly billings will start this month.
Yes.
Great. And yet, we depend on Mr. Meisner for that.
Whatever.
So, thank you. Any other additions or corrections? I then call for a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Schumacher?
I'll make the motion that we approve the minutes from the 12/4/2017 regular City Council meeting, the 12/12/2017 special City Council meeting, and the 12/18/2017 special council meeting.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
I'm going to give that,
I take
I
it
will-
away.
I will give that last second to Mr. Weed. Thank you. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Schumacher.
Aye.
Councilmember Weed.
Aye.
Councilmember Ekstrom.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith. Aye. Councilmember Meisner.
I assume that is with, as amended, I agree.
Councilmember Jaquez.
Yes.
Councilmember Gill.
Aye.
Approved by unanimous vote.
Okay, are there any outgoing members of council who'd like to make any comments or announcements at this time?
I'll let you start. All right.
Mr. Weed?
Yeah, so I am wrapping up 9 years and 11 months on city council, spread out over more than 9 years and 11 months. And I just want to say what a pleasure it's been working with everyone on council. I mean, I feel like we've had a remarkable group of people to work with. And I guess just a couple of words for the future that I guess I'd like to put out. I think people on council know this, but for our new council members as well, I think I have always taken as my personal philosophy that our job is to identify the solutions, identify the problems, and find the solutions. And that's the real challenge, is finding the solutions to the problems. And I think we've done a good job of that, and I encourage you to always keep looking for the solution in the future. And the other thing is just a cautionary note. Continue to be strong leaders. We also have a very strong and effective city staff, and I think they've done a remarkable job. It's been a real pleasure working with Tony and the rest of the city staff. But continue to be leaders. We have a strong city staff, and if you don't lead, they will. So make sure you're the leaders. And that's all I've got to say, and thanks, it's been fun.
Thank you, Dan. Mr. Ekstrom?
Yes, thank you. So in the 4 years that I've served, I've seen the city actually move forward in the direction that I was hoping when I moved to town. And a lot of it lies with this current council. When I decided to volunteer as a councilman, I had no idea how much time I'd be giving up and how much other things there were other than just downtown, right? I came on because there was a vision for downtown. And I believe that we have a ways to go, but I do believe that our downtown is the strength of our retail and commerce in town, and it's what people come to town to really experience. So when I signed on, there was a vision already in place, and I hope that this council continues that vision and moves the downtown in a positive direction. Second, in the 4 years that I've been on, the recreation notoriety that our community is gaining outside of rafting and it's skyrocketing. And again, embrace that, because that's what's going to set us apart from the rest of Colorado, is that we have year-round recreation. And again, I'm amazed that this council is like doing some awesome things. I was absent at one meeting where you guys actually came up with maybe a mountain biking event. That wasn't even my idea. And someone else came up with that. Wow, that's awesome. But I hear there's plans in the works for a mountain biking event. Someone's putting that together already, which is amazing. And then, you know, a word of caution, I guess, to the new council members is be ready to get into the weeds, because that's what taxes you. And I've really had a hard time dealing with negative people. So focus on the positive and surround yourself with positive people, and the solutions will present themselves. The negative people, they'll come in and they constantly try to drag you down, and that's not what this town's about. There's been so many times that I've sat at this table and sat with you guys and listened to people berate us about how we're failing at downtown and how we're failing as a city, and I don't see that to be the case. This is an awesome place to live. I moved my family here, and this council is making it happen. And I know, in fact, I'm really happy the new council, and I know that we're going to be in good hands. So thank you guys all for an overly positive experience. I'm glad I did this now versus when I was retired, because I don't know if I would have made it. So thanks to all of you.
I'd like to thank both of you and Dennis. You can leave here with the knowledge that you have created and helped with the building blocks of our town and our future in a positive way. You've helped that. Just your knowledge and your skill and the way you did tackle your jobs, because it is, as you said, Scott, it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of time. We heard that once, and gosh, you guys do a lot of work. We do, and it's not just here. This is the head of the iceberg. This is what it leads to get to a council meeting in front of the cameras. But I know from, my wife will tell you this, I sit and read and read and read. And I know you all do, because you've always come with your homework done. And I appreciate both of you for that, because I know we all have jobs. We do something 8 hours and 10, 16 hours a day sometimes. But thank you, and I expect that you will be available for questions in the future.
We'll be around.
We will be.
Mayor,
I will be.
I failed to reiterate the staff, the strength of our staff.
Right.
And before I go, you know, bringing Tony on was key, because he's a very strong leader. He finds a direction and he goes with it, and he doesn't let people intimidate him, and I appreciate that. And then what I've heard from staff as a whole is that, you know, in the 4 years that we've been here, we've been able to strengthen as a council the choices that we've made as far as leadership They feel that it's stronger and things are moving in a positive direction. And I really do appreciate and I want to honor our staff, from the building department to the engineers to the clerks to everybody has been awesome to work with. And as I step away, I hope that's still going to be the case.
You will.
You'd be nice to me.
Thank you. Yes, I can tell you, I couldn't do it without them. They're just very professional and precise and get the job done, and I certainly appreciate that as well. So, anybody else would like to chime in here while I'm fumbling around?
I'll chime in. I just want to communicate, which I've tried to both of you, the value that you bring. Scott and I are probably as opposite as you would get, but the beauty of this group is that we both listen to each other, and believe it or not, he actually changes my opinions at times, and that's, for me, that's really profound, that we've got that relationship, that we just don't leave a stone unturned, and we look at it, and then we make a decision, whether we agree with it or not. We leave here as a team, and we go to the next decision, and that's invaluable.
Okay, thank you again. Any other city council, current council members, or I guess will be current? Any other announcements from any of you?
Just a simple, sincere thank you for your time and the contributions you've made to our city, and to your example of leadership and mentorship to all of us as we've kind of learned the ropes the last 2 years. So thank you both for that.
Thank you.
And remember, we have your phone numbers.
Mr. Gill?
Thank you guys for the time and effort you put in over the years. And us, when we came in, we were new council, and it's been enlightening, and you guys have brought a lot to the table to help us continue on with what you guys started and what we've accomplished and what's moving forward. Thank you, folks. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
And, you know, the one person I think I'm going to miss the most is Dennis. You know, because me and Dennis go back a long way. You know, we've had our ups and downs, disagreements and agreements, but you know, that's what council members do. Work with each other, try to solve the disagreements and make them agreements and all that. I've enjoyed working the short time I've had with Mr. Ekstrom. The thing with him is, he's such a soft-spoken person, you know? Yeah. But with the way he speaks, he communicates perfectly to the audience. You know, he's one of those people that let you know you don't have to holler, you don't have to raise your voice, but he gets his point across. And that's really something unique. And that's one of the things that I enjoy sitting beside him.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to number 4, adoption of the sine die agenda. Could I have a motion to second? No?
Pronounce it again.
Sine die?
I
Sine
will make
die?
a motion to approve the Sine DA agenda.
Second.
This is killing me here.
And I'll second that.
Okay, and second, was me. Thank you. How apropos that is. Got a motion, got a roll call, please.
Councilmember Weed.
Aye.
Councilmember Ekstrom.
Aye.
Councilmember Schumacher.
Aye.
Councilmember Meisner.
Aye.
Jaquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Gill.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Approved by unanimous vote.
Okay, then at this time, we'll administer the oaths of office to the newly elected officials. Be myself, Frank, John, and Dolly. Would you meet at the podium, please?
Weird.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Preston R. Troutman,
I, Preston R. Troutman,
residing at 1365 Allison Avenue,
residing at 1365 Allison Avenue,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will honor and uphold
that I will honor and uphold
Constitutions, laws, and regulations
the constitutions, laws, and regulations
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Colorado,
and the state of Colorado,
and the charter ordinances,
and the charter ordinances,
laws, and regulations
laws, and regulations
of the city of Canyon City,
of the city of Canyon City,
and faithfully perform the duties
and faithfully perform the duties
of mayor
of mayor
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. Oop,
Again.
Again, thank you.
That's the game
Let me make sure. huh?
Just sign in. Mr. Hawkes.
I thought I need my glasses, so I had.
You to read, I get to.
Oh, no, good.
I, Frank J. Hawkes,
I, Frank J. Hawkes,
residing at 513 Morningside Court,
residing at 513 Morningside Court,
swear
do solemnly swear
that I will honor and uphold
that I will honor and uphold
the Constitution, laws, and regulations
the Constitution, laws, and regulations
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Colorado,
and the state of Colorado,
and the charter ordinances,
and the charter ordinances,
laws, and regulations
laws, and regulations of the city of Canyon City,
faithfully perform
and faithfully perform
the duties of council member
the duties of council member
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. Thank you very much.
John Hamrick.
I am.
I, John S. Hamrick,
I, John S. Hamrick,
residing at 108 Dewey Road,
residing at 108 Dewey Road,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will honor and uphold
that I will honor and uphold
the Constitution, laws, and regulations
the Constitution, laws, and regulations
of the United States,
of the United States
and the state of Colorado,
and the state of Colorado,
and the charter ordinances,
and the charter ordinances,
laws, and regulations
of the city of Canyon City,
of the city of Canyon City,
and faithfully perform
and faithfully perform
the duties of council member
the duties of council member
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
I, Dolly Gonzalez,
Reside at 215 Harrison Avenue.
reside at 215 Harrison Avenue,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will honor and uphold
that I will honor and uphold
the Constitution, laws, and regulations
the Constitution, laws, and regulations
of the United States,
of the United
the
States
state of Colorado,
and the state of Colorado,
and the charter ordinances,
and the charter ordinances,
laws, and regulations
laws, and regulations
of the city of Canyon City,
of the city of Canyon City,
and faithfully perform
and faithfully perform
the duties of council member
the duties of council member
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Go ahead and grab your books. Record them.
Okay, that's that. Yeah, I had a pretty good feeling.
No, yeah, I'm gonna leave the pens. You guys never have my pens.
I'm not getting up until he adjourns this meeting.
Oh, he's got adjourned.
He's got to adjourn it first. I'm gonna ride this baby, ride this pony to the end.
Okay, I would like to go ahead and adjourn the existing council, sine die, is that what you're saying?
Sine die.
Sine die. And I would ask the new members to be seated.
Preston.
I'm gonna miss you guys. It's a big deal. I know. Listen.
Take over and fill in.
Ready? Okay.
Take care, Dennis.
Okay, again, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Take my coat.
Okay. Therefore, I would like to call to order the regular city council meeting for Tuesday, the 2nd, 2018. Would you call, I'm calling it to order. Would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Trotman?
Here.
Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Gonzalez?
Here.
Schumacher?
Here.
Gill?
Here.
Hamrick?
Here.
Jaquez?
Here.
And Meisner.
Here.
We have
Okay.
a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any council member announcements at this time that we didn't cover? Mr. Meisner?
I don't know if it's an announcement, but can we at least, somewhere in this meeting, get a date set for the retreat?
I think we've got April the 9th, which is a Monday, set. But we'll send out an email to reaffirm that to all the council members.
So that's April 9th?
9th, to Monday.
There was a change in that before, because we had one council member. It was important for one council member to be there, and then we changed it from the March date, and then the other, one council member couldn't be there on a Tuesday. And
Right, but I just, yeah, I got to get my calendar at work. So
Okay.
I'm going to do the April 9th.
Oh, that's not,
That's not right. Is it?
the 8th was
Now, the 8th is a Sunday.
a, 8th was a Sunday, okay. Sorry about that.
So we're on agreement that April 9th at this point. It is a Monday. And we can count on it all day.
Can now count on April the 10th. We've just discovered a little hiccup, so it's the 10th, which is a Tuesday. Thank you for reminding us to tell you that.
All right, well, let's try that again. Is there, do we want to vote on this or something?
So we're talking about,
So we're- the 10th.
Yes.
The 10th.
do I hear a second?
I will check
No.
my email.
I just want to assure the audience that we're not always this confused. No, we are.
Apologize.
It's the 10th, okay? That's okay, you were gone 2 weeks, Tony.
I know, it's
That's the way it is.
jet lag.
You got to be retrained, I know it.
It's all that food.
I guess I can announce that tomorrow morning we'll be on radio, KRLN, for the morning line at 8:30. We'd like to see if we can have the new council people there. I will be there adding my wittiness. No? Woodiness? Never mind.
If that's
never
what you wanna
mind.
call it,
Okay,
sir.
any other announcements, anything from the council?
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to give a thank you to Hank Holloway and those who donated towards the fireworks show for the New Year's Eve. And it was an excellent show, and it was a very, very great way to start a new year.
Wow, it was rather impressive. I think the 4th of July then will be twice that size, as I understand. So, great.
And also, general government is canceled this Wednesday, tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? I'd like to ask for the adoption of the agenda and the consent agenda. Could the administrator review the consent agenda items, please?
Yes, Mayor and Council. 3A would redesignate the City Hall bulletin board for meeting notices. 3B would be resolution number 1, which would authorize the mayor to execute a contract amendment with the state and CDOT to incorporate provisions of the both the federal government, but more importantly, the Office of Management Budget project management requirements for the 4th Street Bridge project, which includes both state and federal monies as well as our local monies. We have a number of bids, starting with 115, which is Jacor in Maine, formerly HD Supply Waterworks for Waterstock. This is originally a contract that was executed in 2015, and the city has by tradition provided for 3-year annual or 1-year extensions. I know talking to Councilmember Meisner, we think it might be prudent to shrink that maybe to just the original contract year and 2 1-year options, because 4 years is a long time to go without opening yourself to more competition and allowing other vendors to compete for a contract. So if the council wishes that, we can make that change this year. So we can get back to that. Extension of another bid, 60-16 to the Front Range Arborist for tree removal and stump grinding. This amount not to exceed $110,000. This would be the second year of that agreement. Extend bid number 1317 to Twin Enviro Service to solid waste removal. This is in our parks, an amount not to exceed $2,500. A similar bid, 1417 to Twin Enviros for solid waste disposal. That's the separate disposal cost of that waste for an amount not to exceed $3,000. Bid 1517, again, to Twin Enviros for septic and vault pumping, not to exceed $10,000. Extension of bid 4117 to the Front Range Arborist for tree pruning service, not to exceed $75,000. And then ratification of the list of bills in your materials from 1218 in the amount of $1,564,220.03. We also ask for the ratification of a $1.9 million water treatment facility at the Royal Gorge Bridge installed and paid for by the bridge company. Their water treatment facility that was installed right after the fire failed this summer, and they've been hauling water, potable water, up to serve the guests at the bridge since July. So they're anxious to get this project completed. It should be operational by May, but that's why we're asking for ratification. They haven't done a lot of work, but they did get a little work done right before Christmas. Additional bids, 218 would be for gravel for various city departments, largely streets, but also for parks and others, to the aggregate source, which is TZAC Company in Canyon City, not to exceed $78,500. Bid 3-18 would be for asphalt for various departments, again, largely the street department. This is a split bid with Fremont Paving and Ready Mix and Martin Marietta Company. The difference is the smaller amount of 15 tons is largely for the smaller projects where the materials can be made available right away. The bigger amount with Martin Marietta is for larger loads. We may be doing whole street sections and not just small jobs. In that case, they're going actually to the plant to pick up the materials, so the unit cost is less than the Fremont Paving because of that. Bid 4-18 is, again, concrete for various city departments, and that's to Fremont Paving and Ready Mix, an amount not to exceed $53,000. 5-18 is flowable fill materials, again, for predominantly street work, to Fremont Paving and Ready Mix, an amount not to exceed $14,000. Bid 14-18 is for annual supply of chlorine for water treatment purposes to DPS Industries out of Hudson, Colorado, amount not to exceed $22,600. And then aluminum sulfate to the water department to Chemtrade Chemicals from New Jersey, an amount not to exceed $62,500. And then cationic polymer for the water department. Now, this is a sole source because the city has had a process for treatment that they've used this particular ingredient since 1998, and that's why it's a sole source, and this is the only provider, that particular chemical that they use. It's a coagulant. And finally, sodium chloride for the water department, the Water Technologies in the amount of not to exceed $25,480. Any questions?
Mr. Meister?
In various parts in those bids, they make reference to if the item is not available from the bidder, we then can go to the second lowest bidder.
Yes.
But it seems odd that we would award the bid to a particular vendor, not mention that secondary person. Should we not be mentioning that secondary bid in those awards?
Well, it's in the materials to you. We could go back and start doing that, or just bring that back to the council. We don't experience that very often, to be frank, but it is a backup to go to the second lowest bidder, should they not be able to provide the materials, but that doesn't happen very often. It's a valid point. What about the suggestion that we limit the extensions to 2 one-year extensions versus the current 3? I think that would open up more
I agree
opportunities
with
for
Jim on
bidding.
that. Thank you for recommending that.
Makes more
That makes good
sense.
sense.
So
And just keep in mind, it's my understanding that we're not obligated to do the extensions, it's an option.
True.
So, but I would at least like to see that whole time frame reduced
Mhm.
to just 2 renewals.
We would agree with you. We think it's, provides, on one hand, some continuity, but on the other hand, provides more competition for vendors, knowing that that window isn't as long as it currently is. Because 4 years is a long time to sit on the sidelines. So we'll implement that immediately.
I appreciate that.
Okay, that it?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a movement that we adopt the agenda and the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussions on that motion? Kathy?
I was just going to note there was a little typo in the resolution number 1 that was brought to our attention this morning, too. The word federal on the first page of the resolution on item 3B. Should be OMB uniform guidance. So that's a document that we can correct in that resolution.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I forgot to note that. I have it.
Okay. Hearing no other discussion, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Schumacher?
Aye.
Councilmember Meissner?
Aye.
Councilmember Jaquez?
Aye.
Councilmember Hamrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Gill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez? Aye. Approved by unanimous vote.
Okay. Do you have an administrator's report, Tony?
Just a very simple one, because we want to wish all of you, on behalf of the staff, a prosperous 2018, and we truly look forward to working with this new council as we had the previous one to accomplish the public's business and, most importantly, achieve some really significant strategic results for this community in the next year.
Okay, thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Appreciate that. Are there any citizens' requests to speak to council?
I received no written requests to speak to council.
Okay. Then the council will appoint a mayor pro tem. Are there any nominations?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to nominate Ashley Smith as Mayor Pro Tem.
I'll second it.
Are there any other? Is that the only nomination we have? Then I'm going to go ahead and close the nominations and ask for, we have a motion. Any discussion on that motion? Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Schumacher?
Aye.
Councilmember Jaquez?
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez? Aye. Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Meissner?
Aye.
Councilmember Hamrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Gill?
Aye.
Approved by unanimous vote. I will need to ask Ashley to move over here and John.
Okay.
I told you.
I'd like to thank you, Ms. Smith, for that.
We just wanted to get rid of you down here.
And you didn't even hear the train coming, did you? Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate the nomination and the vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is the ceremonial change of name tags. Is that what that is?
that mean I was the mayor pro tem pro tem?
Pro tem pretend.
Is it foreshadowing?
Okay, we'll wait till Kathy gets back and we'll move on to 7A, if you'd like to prepare for that. Okay. 7A is a public hearing for a zone change of 9th Street and Washington. I'd like to open the public hearing at this time. Could we have the staff report from Dina? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Good evening, everybody. Dina Zvetla, Community Development Director. Welcome to the new council members. This is a public hearing for a zone change request. The city is the applicant in this case. The city owns the two parcels that are undergoing the rezoning. The general area of the land is west of 9th Street and south of Washington. Basically, it's about two 50-foot strips of land. One is in a east-west direction, and one is in a north-south direction, and that is in the graphic that was included in your packet from our previous and current city planners. The issue went to Planning Commission on November 22nd, and recommendation for approval came from Planning Commission at that time. They also suggested that perhaps as a separate policy update that we actually do some cleanup on the current zone district language of the OPR zone district and maybe split out open space and drainage facilities from recreation and park facilities. So again, just generally, there's two 50-foot wide parcels. As I mentioned, these two parcels border on the west and the south about 47 acres that was recently rezoned to OPR through a separate effort. And that land is currently in private ownership, and that was passed via Ordinance 33, Series of 2017 by this council. So the adjacent land is currently OPR, basically to the east and north of these two little finger parcels. And so as our previous city planner, Terry Bernath, would say, this is sort of a cleanup effort that is the city is taking a lead on. And it's basically to change that language from R1 and R2 to also be OPR because both of those parcels are currently being used as drainage facilities.
Okay. Any questions from council?
I have a question.
Yes, sir, ma'am.
Dana, I know that we're doing the zone change so that we could use this property for stormwater drainage purposes. Have there been any more specific plans to address stormwater drainage in using those properties?
Well, so these two facilities actually that are undergoing the rezoning this evening are, as far as I know, at least the east-west one, but I believe both are currently being used as drainage facilities. So the other land that was recently rezoned to OPR would become additional drainage facilities for the city.
Any other questions from council?
It's not a question, it's just a comment, that even though we've got this designation of OPR, which is open space parks, that does not mean that we're intending to utilize this space as a park, which we know the complications associated with that.
Right, I mean, the open space is one bullet item that's listed as a use by right in that zone district,
Right.
as well as drainage facilities. And again, these two very tiny strips of land, which are about 50 feet wide, from my understanding, they're currently used as drainage facilities. So it's basically cleaning up the zoning, taking it out of residential use, which it really could never be, and putting it into OPR.
All right. I just wanted to make that public statement.
Okay.
You know, the property parallel to Fifth Street is already drainage, is it not? Behind those residences,
In which direction?
the property that parallels Fifth Street, north and south one, yeah.
To Fifth Street? So
Yeah,
this is,
parallels Fifth.
Yeah, that's what I understood, is
yeah.
that there's, that's
I-
a drainage way or something.
Drove up there this weekend, and I think that one is already drainage area.
right. So
We couldn't-
Fifth Street is flanked by current residential uses on both sides, and immediately behind the residential uses, to the east, on the east side of Fifth Street, is that 50-foot strip.
Yeah.
That's one of the 50-foot strips that's part of this rezoning.
Yeah. Good enough.
Any other questions of council? Are there any comments from the audience? Questions? Okay, hearing seen, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. I'll need three to introduce ordinance number 1, series 2018. This is a first reading. I need three to introduce. Schumacher, Ms. Smith, Mr. Meisner, thank you. Would you read by title, please?
This is a bill for ordinance number 1, series of 2018, an ordinance rezoning certain real property within the city of Canyon City, Colorado, city-owned drainage facilities vicinity of 9th and Washington.
I need a motion and a second.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 1, series of 2018 on first reading.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on that motion? Would you call a roll, please?
Councilmember Schumacher,
Aye.
Councilmember Jaquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hamrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Meisner,
Aye.
Councilmember Gill,
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Approved by unanimous vote.
Okay, both 8 and 9, the zone change and the special review use, we're going to table and put on our agenda for January the 16th. There were some errors in the posting. Okay,
Sounds
Mr.
Does Harry need something?
Mr. Patel, would you like to comment on, did you have something to? Just, we're flush with money this time of year, aren't we? Just
Happy New
kidding.
Year, Harry.
Happy New Year, Harry. Okay, then we are adjourned.